guys, what's up? It's Raven. Fun fact, a TV remote is called a clicker. You hear people call it a clicker sometimes because it really did used to be called a clicker. And the reason why it was called a clicker is because it made clicking sounds that the TV picked up on, and the actual sounds of the click is what was controlling the TV. But on another note, we're back, baby. We are back for real this time, y'all. For real this time, I swear. It is, if you're watching this on the day that this episode comes out, literally January 1st, 2025. We're in a new year, and one of my New Year's resolutions, one of my goals for this new year is to officially bring the podcast back and actually be consistent with it for real this time. Like, for real this time. I know I've toyed around with this podcast. I've toyed with y'all's emotions when it comes to this podcast, but I'm serious about it this year. For those of you guys who may not know, I actually technically launched this podcast in summer of 2021. So it has been 3.5 years that I've technically had this podcast, but I was never consistent with it. I think I was somewhat consistent with it for like the first year, and then by year 2, it was getting real splotchy, and then by year 3, I just basically wasn't really posting at all. The last time that I did a podcast episode was actually around this time last year, literally like a year ago, because it was that episode that I did with my friends Daisha and Tasha, and it was the day after my Christmas party last year because they were here in town visiting, and we decided to just do like a little impromptu episode after I had already not been posting for a long time, and that wasn't really a very well put together episode. A lot of y'all probably didn't even listen to it. No shade to Daisha and Tasha, love them. Y'all should go listen to it, by the way, and you should listen to all my previous episodes, because even though I wasn't being very consistent with my podcast before, there's some gems of episodes in there, if I do say so myself. I touched on a lot of hard-hitting topics and answered a lot of questions that I still get asked to this day. So even though the podcast has been all over the place, I highly recommend, if you haven't, kind of get caught up, listen to the old episodes all the way back from 2021 if you haven't already. But yeah, said all that to say, it's been like a year since I've done a podcast episode, but we're back and we are going to be consistent. So like I said, if you're watching this on the day that it comes out, it should be Wednesday, January 1st. And my plan is to start posting consistently every Wednesday. So weekly Wednesday episodes. It's kind of like on Wednesdays we wear pink. And actually, I am wearing a little bit of pink for our video listeners. I am wearing a little touch of pink. Maybe I should make that part of a thing where I actually make sure to wear pink on every episode. I think that would be cute. And yeah, that's the other thing too. This is going to be like it has always been, YouTube video that you can watch on YouTube of the podcast, or you can just listen to the audio only version anywhere that you find podcasts. It's on Apple, Google, Spotify, all the things. So now that we've got that housekeeping out the way, let's jump into this conversation. I really just kind of wanted to start off with a really chill, as you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is chill. We're just in my normal setup like I was doing before. We're just in my office, nothing fancy. It's not some fancy, crazy special relaunch, although I did want to do that. I wanted to kind of make it a big deal, like 2025, we're bringing the podcast back. We're going to like have a whole fancy new set and like all this fancy stuff to make it real special and professional and just like upgrade it for the relaunch. Of course, knowing me, knowing the type of Virgo that I am, if y'all know me, y'all know that I probably, I do have like a vision for like upgrading the podcast, but those things take time. And I've already been putting the podcast on the back burner for far too long. I didn't want to keep using that as the excuse of why I wasn't putting out new episodes. It got to a point where it's like, just do it. Just do it with what you got. What I have here is good enough as far as just getting the episodes out there. I can always improve little by little, I can always make those changes along the way. But if I wanted to wait until I had it perfectly set up like that, y'all wouldn't have gotten this episode until probably the summertime. Like, it would have taken several more months to get that together. So I decided to just come back calm, chill, comfy, same old, and just start posting again. And we'll work our way up to the fancy stuff. And when I say fancy stuff, I'm really inspired by Britney Broski. I don't know if y'all are tapped into Britney Broski. I love her. I think she is very funny, very talented, very smart, very entertaining. I know she's had some little lightweight scandals, and I know there's, you know, people who don't like her for whatever reason. I think out of everything that I've seen and out of every way that she's handled everything, you know, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. To me, in my personal opinion, I think she's somebody who's still worth supporting, worth watching, worth listening to. And I am inspired by her, especially when it comes to her podcast and her podcast set. If you watch her podcast, like on YouTube, she has a really cute set and like branding and like setup for her podcast that I would love to have something a little bit more like that. And I have some ideas. And like I said, we're going to kind of like slowly work our way up to that. Also, Antonio Garza, they recently started a podcast and they have a very similar, like really cute set for it. So I want to do something like that. So y'all stay tuned for that. We're going to, like I said, work our way up to that. But also, speaking of Britney Broski, if y'all are familiar with the Broski Report podcast, or somebody like Emma Chamberlain as well would be a good example. That is the type of podcast that I am aiming to do. That's what I've always aimed to do. With the previous episodes that I have done, if y'all listened to those, you know that like I kind of just get on here and talk. I kind of just get on here and rant and ramble. And yes, I answer questions. And yes, sometimes certain episodes have a specific like theme or purpose or whatever. And yes, sometimes I've had special guests on. But for the most part, the whole point of this podcast is to provide a safe space for me to just speak my mind on whatever random topic I want to talk about. That's it. It's not a specific theme to the overall podcast. It's not like, oh, this is going to be the single mom podcast, or this is going to be the DIY guru podcast, or we're always going to talk about pop culture, or we're always going to talk about, it's not going to always be nothing. It's going to be whatever the heck I want to talk about that day. And sometimes it'll be silly and random and fun and lighthearted. And sometimes it might be super deep and serious. Sometimes I might come on here and cry and get super vulnerable and super real and really talk about some deep stuff. You never know what you're going to get, but I really just need that outlet. I need it. I've been missing this. I've been missing these conversations, having a space to really have these conversations with you guys. You know, I get on my Instagram story sometimes and I talk about things and I rant about things, but it's not enough. You know, those 60-second story slides, it doesn't give me enough time to really say what I want to say a lot of times. But I'm not gonna lie, a big reason why I got so spotty with posting podcast episodes before, and a big reason why it's been a year since I haven't posted, is because it started to not feel like a safe space. I had an issue where at one point I turned the comments off because the way that people were interacting with the podcast and the things that were being said in the comments really made it feel like it wasn't a safe space. I also have a separate Instagram account for the podcast where I post clips and stuff, and there's comments over there, and the comments over there were getting real dicey. So like I got to a point where like I turned the comments off, but then that's no fun, because what's the fun with no comments? There's no commentary, there's no interaction, there's no engagement. That kind of ruins it. So I turned the comments back on, and then it's like, I don't know, I just started to get, what's the word? Almost like shy, like camera shy, like didn't feel like I could really come on here and speak my mind openly like I wanted to. And it just stopped being something that was enjoyable. And I just kind of stopped doing it, mixed in with genuinely just being busy with other things and focusing on other types of content, and just being lost in the sauce overall when it comes to content creation, which is one of the main things that I want to talk to you guys about today. Oh, Lord, because boy, have I been lost in the sauce. Boy, have I been lost when it comes to my content creation career. But anyways, I was saying that to say that I am done with letting people make me feel like this is not a safe space. I'm done with letting the annoying people in the comments shut me up. You can't shut me up, okay? You can't shut me up on my own platform. Why should I let those comments get to me? Why should I let that stop me from saying what I want to say, posting what I want to post, being vulnerable, talking about these things that are really important to me that I want to talk about? I should not care so much about what's being said in the comments. Like, at the end of the day, this is my platform. I really want to have this podcast. I really want to have these conversations with you guys. Yes, I have my own personal opinions that people might not agree with. Yes, I have my own personal experiences that people may want to talk shit about. Oh, well, okay, this is my platform. This is my place to talk. And I'm going to talk, and I'm not going to let anybody stop me anymore, which is why we're back, and we're going to be consistent, and we're going to post every Wednesday. Okay, period. But like I was saying, been a little lost in the sauce in general, not just with the podcast, but with my whole entire content creation career. We have been stumbling and fumbling over the past 2 years, at least 2.5 years. I've felt like I'm just fumbling through it. And I know that may seem a little surprising. It depends. I feel like some of y'all might be aware. Some of y'all might have picked up on some of the problems that I've been having. Some of y'all may not have picked up on it at all. But it mainly revolves around YouTube. Oh, YouTube. See, YouTube is where I really got my start. Well, technically I got my start on like MySpace, Tumblr. Like, before YouTube was ever even a thing, I've been on social media. I've been a content creator before a content creator was even a thing. But as soon as YouTube became a thing, I got on YouTube, and that's when I really started building real clout, real social media success. You know what I mean? That's where I've had, my first video get 1 million views and reach 1 million subscribers and start working with brands and doing brand deals. Like, all of that started for me way back in 2008, I think, is when I really started getting into YouTube. I think it was like 2013 when I really started working with brands and really making money off of it. So this is like over a decade ago that I got my start on YouTube. And so, like, YouTube is my baby. YouTube is my thing. To a lot of people, they refer to me as a YouTuber. Like, first and foremost, oh, Raven Elyse, yeah, she's a YouTuber. You know what I mean? That's what they know me for. That's the main platform that they know me off of. And I've been doing it for so long, and it's been my main bread and butter. It's been my main place where I've had like the biggest following. It's also been where I've earned the most money. It's been my biggest breadwinner. My income heavily relies on YouTube as a platform, up until the past couple of years where things just took a turn. And I feel like I did briefly touch on this in a previous episode, probably like over a year ago now. But basically, I realized that I had built up my YouTube following, built up my YouTube success, mostly based around motherhood content. The motherhood content is what really like blew up my channel. I've done all different types of content over the years. I've done fashion, beauty, hair, vlogs before I even had Zaya, like college vlogs or whatever. I've done all types of videos. But when I started doing motherhood videos after Zaya was born and really delving into being a single mom and things that I do with my toddler and like toddler curly hairstyles, those videos really blew up my channel. And I became really well known for that particular niche. But then what happened was Zaya started to get a little bit older. I started to feel a little bit iffy about having her be on camera so much and being such a big part of my content. You know, there's a big conversation in there about having kids in content, period. A lot of people think that like you should not have your kids in your content, period. A lot of people have very strong opinions about that. There's definitely safety and privacy concerns that I definitely have concerns of. And also just in general, like I never got on the internet saying I wanted to be a mommy vlogger. Okay, I've been doing content creation way before I was a mom. It was never for that reason. Sure, it made sense at the time, but I didn't want that to be my only thing for the rest of my life. Like I didn't want to be a mommy vlogger, and I wanted to get more into other types of content. So y'all probably noticed when I started making that shift towards doing more home decor content or DIY content or party planning content, like my vlogs started to shift more in that direction, and there was less and less morning routine with my daughter, single mom this, mommy daughter that started to fade out as I started to bring the other stuff in. Well, too bad, so sad, because that's not what the people subscribe to my channel for. And it's very simple when you think about it. Like it's kind of like duh, you got all these subscribers when you were doing mommy content, and then you stop doing mommy content, and you think those people are still going to watch your other videos? No, not all of them. Only a certain percentage of people. There's a percentage of subscribers that I have that really just like me for me. And they literally will message me or comment and say, I don't care what you post. As long as it's you, I support you. I want to watch. I just like you and your personality and your vibe. You could be, people tell me all the time, they're like, you could be painting your wall and watching the paint dry, and I would still watch the vlog. You could be doing whatever random mundane thing, and I would still watch it. I don't care. Zaya doesn't have to be in it. It doesn't have to be this or that. I just like you. I'm gonna watch anyway. And I really appreciate y'all. Those of y'all who feel that way and who say that to me, I really appreciate that, because it does feel really good to be supported just for who I am as a fluid person, and not only for one particular type of content. But majority of people, like, that's not the majority. The majority of people come for a certain thing that they're interested in or a certain thing that they can relate to. And when you stop doing that, or when you try to pivot away from that, they're like, this is not what I came here for. I came here because I'm a single mom and I'm trying to watch another single mom do mom stuff. And now you over here throwing a freaking Great Gatsby birthday party. What's that got to do with me? I don't care about your birthday party planning. I don't care about your laundry room makeover. I don't care about, you know what I mean? So it's like, it makes sense and I can't even be mad about it. But what did it do? It affected my viewership. It affected the way my channel was performing, and it affected my mental health, because I'm used to my whole career always being on an upward trajectory. Always. My whole career has always been on an upward trajectory up until that point. I've always been gaining, growing, leveling up, working, everything was always just better, more every year until, that I would say it was maybe 2021 going into 2022. Those were like the main years when it really started to like become a problem, and it started to plateau, and my numbers were no longer going up. They were just kind of staying the same. And then like 2022 going into 2023, they started going down, like noticeably down. And it sucked. It really sucked, because I'm like, I know what y'all want from me, and I just don't want to do that. It in some ways goes against my morals and my ethics as a mother to make certain, like I said, mommy vlogger type content that's very Zaya focused. I don't want to do that for privacy and safety reasons. I'm not going to do it. I don't care how many millions of views it might get. I'm not going to do it, period, for those reasons. But also, I don't want to do it because it's boring. It is so boring, so not creatively fulfilling, so old, so stale to me, doing the morning routine vlogs and that typical, I don't know what else to call it besides like mommy vlogger type content. I did it for so long. I did every type of mommy vlog you could think of already. Been there, done that. It's not exciting. It's not interesting. It is so boring. And so I just don't want to do it. Like, that's the cold hard truth. And then it started to become a thing where I just didn't even enjoy vlogging, period. Not even with the specific like mommy theme to it, but really any type of vlog where I'm sharing my day-to-day life. I started to get sick of that. I started to not want to do that at all. And you can kind of see that shift on my channel as well, which was another problem because, you know, my viewers are like, well, at least if you're not going to do mommy vlogs, we just want to see vlogs, period. Like Zaya doesn't have to be a big part of it, but we want to see vlogs. And I'm like, I don't even want to do vlogs. I don't want to do vlogs, period, for those same reasons. Like, I'm tired of sharing my life. I'm tired of doing this type of video. I've been doing it for 15 years. It's old, it's stale, it's boring. There's not a lot of room for creativity and trying new things and growing and expanding as a creative person. Vlogs, to me, like, there's just not much you could do with it to really have fun with it, especially after already doing it for so long. It just feels, like I said, very been there, done that. But again, it just really sucked because constantly, all the time, people are saying, you know, my viewers are saying, that's what they want. That's what they want to see. And if you're not posting that, then I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to click on it. So I'm trying to post these other, you know, these other style of videos that I am interested in, that I am having fun with, and nobody cares. They're not clicking on it. They are not clicking on it nearly as much. They're not getting the views. I'm not gaining subscribers anymore. Everything is just looking real low and slow. And the other thing that happens is when your channel is not performing well, the brands that I normally do brand deals with, the sponsors that normally pay the bills, they don't want to work with me either because they're like, hello, what happened to your channel? You used to be getting 500,000 million views on your videos. And now you're barely getting 100K views. They're not really too interested in working with me on YouTube. So I completely stopped getting brand deal offers for YouTube. Mind you, that was always my number one source of income. This whole time, my number one source of income was brand deals on YouTube, brands wanting to sponsor my YouTube videos. That was my number one biggest chunk of my income. And now all of a sudden, no brands want to work with me on YouTube anymore. That's not good. Okay, so now it's an even bigger problem because not only do my viewers hate me, which I know y'all don't hate me, but not only are the viewers disappointed in the content and the content's not performing well, and now I feel bad about myself and I feel bad as a creator. But now the brands are disappointed and they don't want to work with me. And now I'm not getting that paycheck. Hello, I don't do this for fun. This is not a hobby. This is my full-time job. These are the paychecks that pay my mortgage and put food on the table and pay Zaya's school tuition and pay for the payroll for my employees. Like, that's a big deal. That's stressful. That's not okay. And this is the first time that I've ever struggled with something like that. Because again, previously it was always bigger and better and more paychecks. I never had to worry about this before. I'm so lucky. I'm so extremely lucky that I have not had a tumultuous up and down career. My career, again, has always been on an upward trajectory up until then. And so I started to get really stressed out and it became like a panic. Like literally every week, me and my team, we would have Monday meetings. And every Monday, it was just doom and gloom because we're sitting there as a team trying to figure out, what do we do? How do we fix this? This is not okay. The numbers are going down. The income is going down. You know, it was just these like very negative, almost like panicky type of meetings. Like every week we would come up with something, we would try something, it wouldn't work. And a lot of times I would feel a lot of pressure, like, well, maybe I just have to go back to doing what I don't want to do. Maybe I just have to start doing mommy vlogs. Maybe I just have to start putting Zaya in the videos just to freaking stay afloat. Like I started to feel that level of pressure, which is why I think you see other creators, you know, no shade, and I'm definitely not going to name no names, but I think sometimes we see other creators do certain things and we wonder why they're doing it. And this is why, because it gets to a point where it's like you are relying on this income. And if certain things are the only things that bring in the income, you feel that pressure to just keep doing it and do it more and more and more. And especially when it comes to like the family vloggers and the mommy vloggers and stuff, it gets real tricky. But I stood my ground for the most part. I stood my ground. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to stick to my morals. I'm going to stick to what's important to me. And what ended up happening is I started to see success on Instagram and TikTok. So my DIY party planning, that sort of like creative new type of content that I was really having fun with and really passionate with, didn't nobody give a fuck on YouTube. It wasn't really doing well on YouTube for the most part, but it was doing really well on TikTok and Instagram for short form content. The girlies were eating it up. And now, especially right now, currently, like my Instagram has really blown up. Instagram was always my worst platform, like my slowest growing, least amount of followers, just really wasn't doing much on Instagram for whatever reason. And my Instagram is now is like my fastest growing, most successful platform right now because of all the DIY creative content that I've posted. I'm getting like, every other video is going viral. I'm having videos that are like 12 million views, 13 million views, like just seeing a lot of success with the short form videos, which feels really good because I'm like, yes, this is the type of content that is currently more fulfilling for me. You know what I mean? I'm having so much fun doing these DIY projects, being able to be creative and like, just kind of do something fresh and new that's actually fun for me and kind of switch things up. And it's not mommy vlogger type stuff. You know what I mean? It's not vlogs, which is great. And so that felt really good to see that success and get that recognition. And I'm being recognized by major brands, and like these big creators are like starting to follow me now and comment on my stuff and say that they're like a fan of me. They love my DIY stuff. They love, all the parties and stuff that I put together. Like I'm getting recognition that I never got before from the vlogs or for the mommy stuff. Like, yes, I got recognition for that stuff. I gained a lot of views and subscribers and stuff like that. And it's not like nobody ever showed me love, but the type of love that I'm getting now is just different. It's just different. It's like people are saying like, oh my God, you're so talented. You're a creative genius. How do you think of this stuff? Like the things that you create are so amazing. Like it's just a different type of compliment that I'm getting now, and from a different audience as well. Like I feel like in the past, not a lot of other like big creators ever really paid attention to me. And not that that's like the most important thing at all, but I never really felt like the top creators knew about me or followed me or cared about my content. But now a lot more big creators are starting to find me from my DIY content versus they never found me from back when I was doing fashion or beauty or vlogs. So it's just interesting kind of how that has played out. So it's good, TikTok and Instagram is doing good. And as far as the income side of it, I was able to start getting a lot more brand deals for TikTok and Instagram content. So the sponsorships and the paychecks are coming through over there. So we're good. You know what I mean? Financially, we're good. Okay. We're doing it on these other platforms. Still not doing good on YouTube. YouTube is still in the negatives, but the other platforms are making up for it, which I always tell people. That is why you have to diversify your content. That is why you should never put all your eggs in one basket. If you are a content creator, if you're an up and coming content creator, do not put all your eggs in one basket. You need to be trying to grow your following on multiple platforms because you never know what could happen with one of the platforms and you don't want to be stuck. And speaking of which, the TikTok ban. As of right now, I'm recording this on December 19th. And right now there's all this talk about the TikTok ban. It's not been, solidified yet as of today. I think it's supposed to be January 19th that I think it gets banned allegedly. So currently, I don't know what's exactly going to happen with that. It's not looking good though. It's really not looking good. It's looking like TikTok is indeed going to get banned, but we'll see. But that's the other thing. So YouTube for me is like in the shitter. TikTok and Instagram are doing good, but now they're about to ban TikTok. So I guess it's looking like all I'm going to have is Instagram, which is not great. So honestly, what that's probably going to do is push me back to YouTube a little bit more and make me want to rethink like, okay, YouTube really been giving me a hard time, but let me try to go back to the drawing board again and see what I can do with YouTube if TikTok is going to be gone. So that's another current stressor. Because honestly, before they started talking about this TikTok ban, I was like, look, I'm doing well enough on TikTok and Instagram to where YouTube is pissing me off. Things are not looking good on YouTube. I'm just going to quit YouTube. I was really basically deciding that I was just going to quit YouTube because I'm like, I hate it here. I hate it here. Y'all don't like the stuff that I'm trying to post. Y'all only want me to do mommy vlogs and these other types of things that I don't want to do. The comments and the community and just the overall vibe on YouTube because of that is horrible. Like the vibes are bad. The energy is very low vibrational. And I know this is a very like whiny, complaining type of rant that I'm on right now, but I'm just being real with y'all. Like the vibes have been bad on YouTube because I don't know what it is about my community specifically over there. I guess it just boils down to what I said. Like I'm not making the type of content that they want me to make, and they are vocalizing that. You know what I mean? And if I'm off schedule or I'm not posting, because that's also been a thing. Like I've been kind of off schedule and not posting as regularly or consistently like I would. And it's just very like, why aren't you posting? All you care about is TikTok now, but us YouTube subscribers, like we're the ones who made you. We're the ones who got you where you are today. And you're just going to abandon YouTube. And it's just like, it's been 2 weeks and you haven't posted a vlog. Where are the vlogs? And then if I post like whatever other type of video, they're like, I don't really like this content. I miss when you used to do vlogs. Like it's very negative. Like it's a lot of almost like entitlement. Like we don't like what you're doing. We want you to do this instead. Why are you not doing this? Like it's just a hostile, not very positive, not very supportive environment in my YouTube comments. And it makes me not want to post. It makes me not want to be over there at all, versus it's a complete 180 on TikTok and Instagram on my short form content. Everyone is so nice, so supportive. They're like, we love what you're doing. We love everything you post. We have no complaints, no problems. Biggest fan, love you. Like it's so just rainbows and butterflies for the most part with the short form content. And then I post long form on YouTube and it's the opposite. And I'm just like, I hate it here. I don't like this. This isn't fun. This isn't fun anymore. I'm not having a good time. I'm tired of this, grandpa. And so literally I was like, then I'm just not going to do it. How about that? I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to focus completely on doing Reels and TikToks and bring the podcast back. Reels, TikToks, podcasts. And that should be enough. That should be enough to keep me relevant, to keep me afloat as a creator, to keep me afloat financially. And I just won't do normal YouTube videos at all anymore. I won't vlog. I won't even try it. I just won't do it. That was the plan. Until they said, oh, actually, we're going to ban TikTok. And so I'm like, well, I don't know if that's going to work because I don't know if I can get away with just doing Reels and podcast. That's really paring down. That's like, you know what I mean? That may not be enough to keep me afloat as a creator and to honestly keep me afloat financially. Which brings me to my next point, because another thing that ended up happening with this whole, issue that I've been having with, YouTube going down and losing out. Like another thing that I did is I let Zoe go. Zoe, for anybody who doesn't know, Zoe was she started off being my personal assistant, production assistant, and she got promoted to executive producer. She started working for me at the beginning of 2023, I guess. It's all a blur. She worked for me for almost 2 years. And love her, no hard feelings still to this day. Like there's nothing there. Everybody seemed to really like her when she was working for me and when she was in my content. But I had Zoe, and then at one point I had Michaela, who was my intern, another assistant intern, because that was when I was like stressed out about YouTube and trying to figure out what can I do to like revive my YouTube channel. Like I need to do something different. I need to whatever. And I also was trying to keep up with Instagram and TikTok at the same time. Like I just felt very overwhelmed. I was like grasping for straws. Like I need to do all of this and I need to revamp and I need to increase the quality of my content and I need to try this and try that and add this in and add that in, to the point where it was like, I need extra help. Like if I'm going to do all of this to try to revive my YouTube channel or whatever, I'm not going to be able to do it by myself. And so that's where Zoe and Michaela came in, because I'm like, I need extra hands on deck to be able to keep up with all this crazy content creation that I'm trying to do. And then Michaela was a temporary intern. That was always just going to be a temporary internship. So when her internship was over, I brought in Sam, because I was like, well, Michaela's gone, but I still need help because I'm still struggling and I'm still trying to do all these things. I'm frantic, scrambling. So I brought in Sam because I still needed extra help. But through that, I realized that it was very overwhelming trying to keep up with all the different things I was trying to do to revive my YouTube channel or whatever, and keep up with short form at the same time. But it also was very overwhelming being the boss of two assistants, like having Zoe and Sam working for me full time in person at my house. Let me repeat. 2 people working for me full-time hours, 9 to 5 every weekday in person at my house. That became too much for me to handle as an introvert, as someone who was just already stressed out and dealing with mental health issues because of everything that was going on. Like I just felt overwhelmed, and I felt this overwhelming like stress of like, if I don't get my shit together, if I don't figure out how to keep this train rolling, that's their paycheck on the line. If I don't get paid, they don't get paid, which I was already used to a certain extent, because I've always had my mom on payroll. I've always, I have a manager who gets a percentage, and then my mom's on payroll. I've had my sister working for me. I've had Taylor, one of my closest friends, Taylor, she was also on payroll doing sort of like back end stuff, almost like HR type stuff. And so I'm used to having people on payroll, and I'm used to having that responsibility and that pressure of, if I don't get my shit together and if I'm not successful and if I don't get paid, then y'all don't get paid. But adding on Zoe and Sam, adding on to that, it just took it to another level, because they're full-time payroll salaried employees. It just took that stress to another level. And it never got to a point where I financially couldn't afford to pay them. It never was like I have to lay you off because literally due to the finances, you have to be laid off because I cannot afford to pay you. It never got to that point. But I lived in fear of it getting to that point. And I also just didn't like the feeling of having to be responsible. And I didn't like the feeling of having 2 people in my house working for me. And just the way that this has, the way that RETV had blown up into such a big production with so many employees and so much going on, I was like, what happened to little old Raven Elyse TV? You know what I mean? What happened to the days when it was just me and my camera and nothing else? I miss those days deeply and truly. I miss the old days when content creation was literally this stripped down, like very personal, very real, very authentic, just literally just me and my camera in my house, in my room, by myself, doing my thing on my time. Literally, I am my own boss. I am on my own schedule. I go with the flow. If I have an idea, I do it. If I don't feel like it, I don't do it. Like, I started to really miss those days. Honestly, that was the biggest thing. All the finances and everything like that was fine. You know what I mean? I like to think that I'm a very, a reasonably smart businesswoman, and I err on the safe side when it comes to anything like that. So I don't ever let anything get too close when it comes to the finances and whatnot. So like I said, that wasn't even the big thing. The big thing was more so how I felt and how my work environment and my work schedule and this world that I created for myself, the way it was making me feel very run down, very stressed out. And for what? And for what? Because I'm doing all this and my YouTube channel is still in the negatives. It's not even working. We trying to do all these things behind the scenes, upgrading and adding on and and it's not even working. It was working for like short form content started doing well, but the YouTube channel still wasn't doing well. And so it all felt pointless. I'm like, I'm stressing myself out. I got all these people in my, like, for what? And so honestly, that is the reason why I ended up letting Zoe go, because I made the decision to just kind of freaking chill out. Like I said, okay, if YouTube's not working, then just don't do YouTube. It'll be fine. You know what I mean? If these, big productions and extra things that we're trying to do, if it's not even working, if it's not even yielding the results, if the brands still don't want to work, like, then just don't do it. Like, completely just quit that. Take that off the plate. And I just made the decision to allow myself to pull back, do less, slow down, and try to kind of get back to that old way of content creation where it's me doing my thing. And that's where you see I really started tapping even more into me doing my DIY projects and stuff like that. Because it was in September, right around right before my birthday party, that I let Zoe go, because I'm like, Zoe, I'm downsizing my team. I let Zoe go and I let Taylor go. These are two people who were like on full-time employee, full-time salary. Let Zoe go, let Taylor go. Taylor's one of my best friends, still is to this day. They both understood. They both were like, hey, we're both on to other things anyway in our own career trajectory. There was other things that they wanted to do anyway. And so it kind of ended up working out to where it was like, okay, we've served our time. We're no longer helpful here. We're going to go do other things anyway. Cool. No hard feelings, no issues like that. But I'm like, yeah, I'm downsizing my team, less employees, less people in my house, less of a big production. I kept Sam because Sam's main skills revolve around physically helping me with the DIY projects and being like hands-on creatively as far as like drawing and painting, and also with editing. Sam edits all of my short form content, which is still super important that I have that help. So Sam's skills and like her tasks and her jobs were things that I still needed from her. And so I kept her on, but I changed her work schedule to where instead of coming into my house every day, 9 to 5, she now only comes in my house maybe twice a week. She comes over here twice a week to help me with the stuff that I need help with in person. Other than that, she works from home. Some days, like, it's a very much more like lax type of schedule, much more chill for me on my side, gives me a lot more alone time at home for me to just do my thing with my content by myself. Again, trying to get back to sort of the olden days, the old ways of making content, and give myself that like soft, slow environment again. So that's where all that came from. And so that's where I'm currently at with it. I have, like I said, Sam, who only comes in a couple of days. I'm doing my DIY content, my creative little, I did my birthday party. I did fun stuff for Halloween. I just got done doing all my fun stuff for Christmas, and I'm having fun with it. Like, this is what I like to do. And and I'm doing it in a more chill, toned down way. Again, YouTube channel is still suffering. I never fixed my YouTube channel. I never figured that out. Everybody is still yelling at me on YouTube. Everybody is still disappointed in my YouTube. Everybody still want the mommy vlogs. That's still a problem. Now we got the Tik Tok ban to think about. So it's like, it's not completely fixed. This industry is such a roller coaster, and always has been. Always has been. I should be used to it by now. I've been doing this for so long. You got to learn how to ride the waves. You got to learn how to diversify. You got to be ready to pivot. You got to be ready to try new things, do different things to stay afloat. It just is what it is. So that's all I'm trying to do. But I'm trying to prioritize like my mental health through it all, especially right now. I'm trying to prioritize my mental health and do things in a way that are not going to freaking run me down and run me dry and stress me out, because it's just not worth it. after all these years, like I deserve to slow down. I deserve to chill out. I deserve to rest and relax. Some of the time I deserve to just do things that make me happy. That's kind of where I'm at with my content creation journey. And that also brings me back to, bringing the podcast back, because that's something that I really want to do for myself. So we're doing the podcast. We're going to see what happens with TikTok. We're going to see if I can revive my YouTube channel in a way that balances being able to be successful but also be happy. I don't know if I'll ever truly figure that out, but we gonna see. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to content creation. I will say on the financial side of things, because I know that's like a part of it that people are super interested in, I'm in a good place because like I said, the short form content is doing well. I'm getting sponsorships over there. I actually just had a call today about a brand offer that's like a really big offer that's going to pay really well, and that's for like Instagram. So the money is definitely coming in through me pursuing the DIY content on the short form platforms. So like I said, I'm doing well there. Plus, mixed in with the fact that I let Zoe go and I let Taylor go, that reduces my business expenses. And so it sort of is all balancing out, and it's all kind of working out on the financial side of it. So there's really no big emergency or big catastrophe on that side of things. Plus, I have been told and I've been taught, always diversify your income. Again, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I do have my investment property, my rental property, which that rental property really isn't for profit right now. I'm really not making a profit off of that at all right now. It's a long-term investment, but I do want to expand my real estate portfolio. I've been saying that for forever, ever since I first got that house when was that, 2021? So, it's definitely time for me to actually expand my real estate portfolio and invest in some more properties. So that's another goal of mine for 2025, I think, is to really buckle down on that and sort of diversify my income by actually turning more of a profit when it comes to real estate. I think that would be smart for me for sure. As far as any sort of rental property update, there's really no update. I mean, I've been very lucky. I'm on my third tenant. I've had the house for about 3 years and I'm on my third tenant. And I've had nothing but amazing tenants in there. All 3 couples who have lived in my house have all been great. I haven't had any issues as far as like, people not paying rent or crazy damages or crazy anything. Yes, there's been maintenance that you have to do to the house. Yes, there's been stuff like that, but it's been a very smooth, easy process. Just really nothing interesting to report, basically, is what I'm saying. It's been fine. I've been able to keep tenants in there the whole time. It's been good. I've enjoyed owning that property and being a landlord, and I've been told that I'm a really nice landlord. So that makes me feel really good. And so it's given me the confidence to be able to want to go forward and do more of them. So that's kind of the update there. So stay tuned for that, because I'll definitely be taking y'all along that journey and talking about that as that happens. Other than that, I know that there's like a good little handful of frequently asked questions that I've been getting recently, a few little topics and a few little things that I know y'all kind of want me to address or speak on or whatever. And that's why I'm bringing the podcast back, because we got some things to talk about. In a lot of different categories of life, and I definitely want to talk about them. And like I said, dive a little deeper and open up a little bit more when it comes to motherhood, parenthood in general, when it comes to dating, when it comes to other things in the finance world, when it comes to other things in the social media world, when it comes to friendships, when it comes to mental health is a big one, family. There's a lot of questions floating around, and I see you, I see them, but I just haven't had the right outlet, to be able to discuss them. So we're back. We're going to definitely discuss those things in upcoming episodes, so definitely stay tuned. I also do plan on still having a special guest or two here and there. Sam, for one, is probably one of the first guests that I'm going to have, because it's only right to bring Sam on the podcast, like everybody else from the RETV team has had their episode, so she needs her episode. So y'all be thinking of questions that you want to ask Sam. Also, I definitely want to incorporate like an advice section, like maybe have y'all call in and make it a little segment in every episode where y'all can like ask questions or ask for advice, and we can play your voicemail and I can like respond and make it like an interactive thing with you guys. So definitely follow my Instagram account, the Raven Elyse podcast Instagram account. That's where I will be posting all things related to the podcast. So when it comes to y'all being able to ask questions for the podcast, or being able to like call in or leave a voicemail, like I said, all that information is going to be there on that Instagram account. So follow Raven Elyse podcast on IG. Subscribe to the On Another Note YouTube channel in case you want to check out the YouTube video versions of the podcast as well. And yeah, we're back every Wednesday. I promise I'm going to be consistent this time. I really want to talk to you guys. I really want to connect with you guys. So for real this time, we're back. And I'll talk to you guys next Wednesday.